Hippolyta unfastened the belt herself. That is the part people leave out. Heracles had crossed the sea to take it from the queen of the Amazons, and when he explained why he had come, she simply agreed to give it to him. The 9th labor was over. Then Hera arrived. This is the labor where the monsters end. No invulnerable lion, no hydra, no cursed bull or man-eating horses. Eurystheus sends Heracles against a woman who has done nothing to him, and the disaster comes from people believing the worst before anyone asks a second question. When we left Heracles, he had returned from Thrace with the mares of Diomedes and without Abderus, the young companion he had left holding their reins. He built a city over the boy's grave. Then he went back to Tiryns, because grief did not cancel the next order. Apollodorus says Eurystheus' daughter Admete wanted the belt of Hippolyta. That is the entire reason. 8 labors have protected towns, cleared roads, and ended monsters. The 9th begins because a princess sees something famous and decides she would like to own it. But this was not jewelry. Apollodorus calls it the belt of Ares, given to Hippolyta as the sign of her supremacy over all the Amazons. It was crown, military commission, and proof of rule in one object. Asking for the belt meant asking a queen to hand over the thing that made her queen. Greek writers placed the Amazons beyond the familiar world, around the river Thermodon on the southern coast of the Black Sea. They imagined a society of women trained for war, expert with horses and bows, ruled by their own queens. To Greek men, that made them fascinating, formidable, and deeply inconvenient. The Amazons were not monsters. They were a mirror. Greek cities expected men to govern, fight, and speak in public, while women remained inside the household. Amazon stories reversed the arrangement, then made Greece confront it with a spear in its hand. Their queen was Hippolyta. Her name is often translated as something like she who lets horses loose. She was a daughter of Ares, which makes this the 2nd labor in a row ruled by one of the war god's children. Diomedes used power to corrupt. Hippolyta uses it to command. Heracles did not sail alone. Apollodorus says he took volunteer companions in a single ship. Later traditions add famous names, especially Theseus, but the oldest accounts do not agree on exactly who came. What matters is that this was an expedition, not a private errand. Even the voyage cannot stay simple. On Paros, sons of Minos killed 2 of Heracles' men. He answers by killing 4 of theirs and besieging the rest until they offer compensation. Heracles takes 2 grandsons of Minos as replacements and keeps sailing. Ancient myth treats crew manifests with a brutal kind of arithmetic. At Mysia, King Lycus welcomes him. When a neighboring king attacks, Heracles helps Lycus defeat him, and the conquered territory is named Heraclea. The detour matters. This is a man who can arrive among strangers, understand the situation, and leave as an ally. He is not doomed to make enemies everywhere he lands. Then the ship reaches Themyscira at the mouth of the Thermodon. No ambush waits on the beach. No arrows fall from the walls. Hippolyta comes down to meet him. Apollodorus gives the meeting almost no drama. Hippolyta came to Heracles and asked why he had come, so he told her, not a threat, not a demand delivered at spear point, a question and an honest answer. And Hippolyta promised to give him the belt. Read that again. Heracles is ordered to take the emblem of a foreign queen's authority, walks into her country, and she chooses peace. No riddle, no contest, no price. She decides one belt is not worth a war. This should have been the cleanest labor in the entire series. Heracles had finally learned to speak before striking. Hippolyta had enough confidence to negotiate without treating a stranger as an enemy. 2 armed people choose not to fight. The labor is already won. Hera cannot allow that. She has sent madness, monsters, and impossible orders after Heracles since before he could walk. Now she faces something much harder to defeat, 2 people behaving reasonably. Apollodorus says Hera took the shape of an Amazon and moved through the army. She did not enchant anyone. She did not cloud their minds. She told them one sentence. The strangers who had arrived were carrying off their queen. It is a perfect lie because it is close enough to the truth. Foreign armed men have arrived. Their leader wants the queen's belt. Hippolyta is with him. Hera only changes the reason. A meeting becomes an abduction, and every fact now points in the wrong direction. The Amazons mount their horses and ride for the ship in full armor. Nobody sends a scout. Nobody asks Hippolyta. Nobody checks whether the rumor came from someone they know. Fear moves faster than command. Heracles looks up and sees an army coming. Then he makes the same mistake. Apollodorus says he suspected treachery on Hippolyta's part. The woman who just offered him the belt must have been stalling until her warriors arrived. That explanation feels safer than trusting her. One question would end the story. Did you call them? He never asks it. That is the ninth labor in miniature. Hera starts the lie, but everyone else supplies the certainty. In Apollodorus' version, Heracles kills Hippolyta, takes the belt and turns on the other Amazons. The source gives her death no speech and no final revelation. She chose peace, and she dies before she can explain that the army was never her plan. Then comes the battle nobody needed. Heracles defeats the Amazon leaders one by one and drives the rest back from the shore. The Greeks keep their ship. He gets the belt. If you count only the objective, it is a complete success. But look at the object in his hands. It was offered freely before the battle and taken from Hippolyta afterward. The belt has not changed. The route to possessing it has, and that difference is the entire moral weight of the story. Ancient Greece did not preserve one clean version. Euripides has Heracles say he won the belt through deadly struggle. Diodorus describes an open campaign against the Amazons. Some traditions move Hippolyta into the story of Theseus, where she may become his wife and survive this meeting entirely. Apollodorus' version hurts more because peace was real. Hippolyta was not tricking him. Her army did not know what she had agreed. Heracles did not know what Hera had said. Nobody in the battle except Hera understood the whole situation, and she never lifted a weapon. That makes rumor Hera's most efficient weapon in the series. The Hydra required a swamp, venom, and 9 heads. The Amazons required one believable sentence delivered to frightened people. After that, everyone did Hera's work for her. Heracles carries the belt back to Mycenae and gives it to Eurystheus. Apollodorus never tells us what Admete does with it. Maybe it hangs in a palace. Maybe it disappears into a storeroom. A queen dies, an army bleeds, and the object that caused it becomes decoration. The ninth labor is not about whether Heracles can defeat the Amazons. Of course he can. It asks whether strength matters when nobody has the patience to verify what is true. Hippolyta makes the wisest choice in the story. Hera makes the smallest move. The smallest move wins. And the 10th labor takes Heracles farther than ever before. Past the edge of the Mediterranean to steal the red cattle of Geryon, a warrior with 3 bodies who lives where the sun goes down. First, Heracles must reach the end of the world. Then he has to get back.